Today I'm going to talk about how to make a bottle. You saw how to make a vase. All really a bottle is a much narrower neck than the vase. And again, we're starting off with about 2 pounds of clay, 1.5 pounds, and we're going to try making it into a bottle shape. I have the clay kind of preset a little bit and finish it up here. As you've seen in my previous videos, I have a little more demonstration of how to center the clay, but kind of get it done. Really the end of it is left hand pressing in, right hand pushing down. I have my elbow out a little bit where I push down a little bit so I can get some nice downward pressure and inward pressure at the same time. That kind of helps finish off the clay so it's nice and centered. Again, put my left hand on the side, make my finger into a little point, and I kind of push in towards the middle and push down until I get to about 1/4 inch. Again, take my needle tool here, stop the wheel, let's check the depth. About 1/4 inch is what I want right here. All right, now I'm going to pull it open as I've done before many times. Left hand, make a hand to a hook or claw, and I begin to pull it open. Now remember, you pull it straight, not up or down, straight across. Desired width I want it to be. Then once I've done that, I'm going to go in with my sponge, compress the inside a little bit so it's nice and compressed in. Because again, if it's not good and compressed, you could really distort what you're going to pull or leave your bottom way thicker than you think it is, and then you could end up with problems down the road. Now I'm going to begin to kind of pull it up and curve it in again. Right hand on the outside, left hand over top. I'm going to pull it up. Add a little water onto the clay. I'm squeezing my fingers and my palm here together and have my hand pinching the clay together as I pull this up. As I get close to the top, I don't squeeze as hard. And I pull it away, and there's a little mound we have started. And I take my left hand on the top, squeeze it between my knuckles here, kind of push down, squeeze, kind of even out my lip again, and my necks have a nice even thickness. Now I'm going to get a couple more pulls out of it. Now I put my left hand in on the inside, right hand on the outside. I begin to pull up. I'm going to slow the wheel down just a bit. I kind of squeeze my hand as I've done before, kind of pull that clay up as I'm going up. Press harder in my right into my left. I use a sponge as kind of a way on the outside of it to help me push. It's just a trick I learned a while back. Again, collar in the top. I just kind of make sure the top's nice and collared in and kind of squeeze it in. Clear away some of the excess clay. And do the same thing again. Watch closely as I pull that clay up. See a little wad of clay? I've started pulling up from the bottom, and I kind of pull up. As I get close to the top, I don't press as hard. Okay. Now you can see it's starting to turn into a cylinder, which you've made before. And you really got to think about what I'm going to make next. I want to make this into a bottle, so I really got to control the neck of this clay. All right, so again, I flare it in a little bit. I take one of my ribs. I'm going to, again, put towards the outside and begin to pull up while my hand's inside of it. Slow the wheel down just a little bit more, makes it a little bit easier. Add a little clay to my hand, water to my hand, under the piece a little bit, and then I begin to press and pull out my piece. Try to do even pressure all the way up. I get some of the slurry, stuff like that off the side of my piece. Now I gotta think about how I'm gonna flare it out. I want a little bit of shape to this piece, so I'm gonna make it into a bottle. So I'm going to push it out a little bit towards the bottom, flare it out a bit until it comes up to about here, and that's really about it. 'Cause the rest of this is going to be my neck. So flare this out just a little bit more, not too much more, because if I do, I'm going to lose control of my piece. So I'm trying to make it go inwards a little bit. Again, I got it nice and open wide, so I can go in there and dry the water out of the inside of it. Pull the water out. I'm going to slow the wheel down a little bit, and then I'm going to collar it in. Now, when you start coloring something in, you want to start at the lip first. Get it to the desired width you wish it to be. Because if you don't try to get that desired width, it's going to collapse out or collapse in on you. And I get a little water to it, and I kind of just press it in the lip, and I kind of squeeze it between my hands, is what I'm doing. Shrinking it in. So I have the thickness I want. Now this big bulbous shape here. Again, I take my fingers, make them into a star shape. Use my 2 knuckle fingers here, I begin to pull inwards. So I start where that lip was, and I begin to push inwards and compress it in. It's like I'm touching it on 4 points, with the knuckles helping out with that a little bit. I begin to compress it in. Now I have a bottle shape starting to form. Now, as I told you, when you compress clay in, it gets thicker. So you got to do a little bit here before you go any more. You got to pull this clay. I put my middle finger in, my thumb on the outside. I kind of press my fingers with it. I'm going to pull some of this thickness up. So I got a nice little round shape here with the bottle. I'm going to press it in one more time. Again, take my fingers, press them in, and begin to pull up. Again, one more time. Get some of that thickness off the piece. What I can also do is I take my rib here, the round part of a rib. You can do a wooden one, rubber rib, it doesn't matter. But I kind of put my finger just here at the top. Okay, I'm not going all the way down. I'm kind of just taking it and I'm pushing it in against that lip. By holding my fingers right at the lip there, helps keep it centered. It allows me to get some of that slurry off of it again and kind of compress it in and get just a little bit taller. Okay, same thing. Again, I like to show some dilation between the neck and the shoulder and the body of the piece. So give a little bit of a line there so you can see a little variation to it. And then I'm going to come back in here, trim away some of this excess clay that's on the bottom of my piece. Now if I want to, if you look closely at the bottom, it kind of bulges out a little more than I like to. So what I do is I'll take my rib here, kind of just go along the side of it. Again, notice my right hand is holding the top of the piece. Kind of just go around it a little bit, kind of get some of the slurry off of it, and also brings in some of that boldness that's on the bottom of the piece and brings it in a little bit. It still keeps the roundness I want. There we go. That's kind of the trick there on that. I could almost do it like this, but I could really knock it off center up here, so if you kind of hold it, it makes it a little bit better. Again, I do a little variation here at the bottom. Oh, again, I forgot the lip first. Roll it around a little bit. You can take your pinky if I really want to make that lip stand out a little bit more. Give a little bit of a line. Try to extend it out a little bit. Have a nice little lip there. That push right there a little bit more so I get that neck to come in just a little bit more. Okay. Last thing I'll do is, as I did last time, I give myself a little bit of a foot. So I just take my thumb, kind of push along the bottom there. And it gives me a nice little bottom part to my piece. So I now have a foot, goes into the body, now with this, into the shoulder, and then goes into the neck. And then I can define the lip a little bit more. A little more thickness than I thought I had. There we go. So I have a nice bottle shape. Again, let me cut this in half so you can see what it looks like on the inside. Oops. So you can see what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a nice even thickness throughout the whole entire piece. That's what gives us a nice weight, to have a nice even thickness throughout. As you can see by looking at it, I've done that. Got a little thickness here at the bottom. I can trim this back later, or if I want to, I can go with the tool and trim some more of this off before I cut it off. And that's how you make a bottle.